This is Shaklee Talks, and I have as my guest the wonderful Amada Elmore. Amada was a member of the 2016 Olympic team that won gold, women's 8 rowing, and she is going to talk to us tonight about what it feels like to be an Olympian, how she got there, and a little bit about how we develop confidence and how we develop leadership, which is extremely important whether you're involved in the Shaklee business or any other enterprise. So Amada, delightful to have you be here. And I should also mention that you are an esteemed member of the Shaklee Pure Performance team. In fact, you actually spoke at our global conference in Las Vegas this year. And you can tell everyone a little bit about the Pure Performance team and how you managed to get on that. So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Really happy to be here and talk to everyone. I'm so grateful for my Shaklee family. So I love to give back with things like this whenever I can. And I'm sad I didn't get to meet everyone at Global Conference because it was so big and crazy, but it's good to talk to you all today. So I just want to talk about confidence today and kind of tell my story through that. And if you want, I can start my slides right now, or?
Sure, we're good.
Yeah, and you can't see the slides. There are lots of pictures, and you can watch the video later. Just because a lot of you might not know what rowing is, and I like to show pictures to kind of get an idea of what we were doing out there. So yeah, the reason I want to talk about confidence, I think confidence is something we all kind of struggle with, whether we like to admit it or not. And what I've learned throughout my journey is that confidence isn't black and white. It's not something you have or you don't. And it's just something you have to work on in every situation, and be aware if you are holding yourself back from things, if you are holding your business back, if there are things you could be doing if you are a little more confident. And confidence is something I've always struggled with. And so reflecting on my career, I've come up with some tools to work through confidence in every situation. So I'm going to talk through my story and talk through those tools that I've come up with to help myself build confidence. And hopefully, as I'm talking, you can kind of think about how you would use these tools in your business or in your life or in your sports or whatever you do.
Right.
So kind of back up where it all began. I grew up in Indiana. I was an athlete growing up. I ran cross country and track, and I did gymnastics. And I didn't even know how to row until I was in college, actually. And so I just say this to show that getting where you want to go takes a long time. And sometimes maybe you're not even on the path to where you'll end up in the future. Like, I didn't even really know what rowing was in high school, but so even when you can't see the finish line, you have to have the confidence to just keep going where you are right now. So when I was in college at Perdue University, I decided to try walking on to the Perdue rowing team, and didn't really know, actually my brothers had rowed, but they're quite a bit older, so I didn't really know what rowing was. But I immediately loved it. I loved being outside, being on the water, constantly improving, racing against my teammates. I loved being in a boat with other women that were all doing the same thing, the same goal. And I found I had natural talent in the sport, but I often felt anxious before races. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt this imposter syndrome, like maybe they're gonna find out that I'm not that good. And even in college, I was doing some national team stuff because I had that talent, but I would go to these national team camps and I would be thinking to myself, like, what am I doing here? These women are so much better than I am. Who do I think I am? But I had to embrace kind of fake it until you make it, and just keep a smile on my face and keep reminding myself that I was good enough and that I loved the sport, so I should keep going. So after college, I got invited to train at the National Team Training Center, which is in New Jersey. So the way rowing works is often in college, you'll get invited to kind of junior national team camps, under 23 national team camps. And so I kind of showed my worth in the sport through those camps. But if you want to make the Olympic team, you have to train full time at the Olympic Training Center. And so when I got invited to go to that team, I was so honored and so excited. Still felt that, you know, insecurity, imposter syndrome, but just knew that this was my chance and knew that I had what it took to get to that Olympic level. And I at least had to try, you know. So when I moved to Princeton, I thought that I was going to, you know, right away just be awesome. Well, that's what I hoped. And we had a fitness test the first week when I got there. And on this fitness test, I thought, you know, maybe I'd at least be like middle of the team. Well, I finished dead last out of everyone by multiple minutes. I was not even close to in the pack. And I just remember realizing like this is gonna take a lot of work and I have a long way to go. And the self-doubt and the insecurities pushed me to overtrain. And that first summer that I was there, I thought I had to catch up really quickly and ended up having an injury that put me out of the boat for a couple months. And so this is when I really had to address my confidence issues. I had to address those insecurities and realize that I'm at the bottom. I have to work my way up and I can't just jump up to the top right away. So my 3 tools to building confidence I came up with are visualize it, embrace it, and love it. So I'll go through those. The first is visualize it. So science shows that, you know, if you can visualize yourself doing your goal, that you are more likely to achieve your goal. Like if you can imagine yourself doing what you want, it's almost as good as practicing that thing. And in rowing, we actually visualize a lot. So like the night before a big race, we'll all close our eyes and we'll sit in a circle and we'll imagine ourselves racing. And we don't always imagine ourselves winning, but we imagine ourselves in that situation. We imagine ourselves as being confident and doing what we want. And so I really started to learn how to visualize myself being confident. So even when I was injured and I couldn't train, I was imagining myself at the Olympics and imagining that I actually did have the confidence that it took to get there. And another big part of visualizing for me was not just visualizing what I wanted to get, not just visualizing the medal, but imagining who I was when I achieved it. And so doing this, I watched my teammates. I watched my teammates who were, you know, confident, who were strong and hardworking and good teammates and good leaders and had all the qualities I wanted. I watched them and I visualized myself as being them, and that made me more confident because I saw myself in them. I saw that I could be those things too. And so that was part of visualizing it for me.
Well, let's put a little note, a little pin in that one, Amanda, because as I understand the psychology of seeing yourself in your visualization, really the best way to develop confidence is to be good at something and then tell yourself, right?
Right.
Well, of course I am. I mean, what do you expect? I'm good. The second most important way is to look at someone who you judge not different from you succeeding. And that also gives you quite a bit of confidence. And so, interestingly, you have to actually see yourself as equal to those people who are succeeding in order for that particular way of assimilating that picture to take. So how did you do that? How did you build yourself to the point where you could see that you were as good as the other women in the boat? You had as much potential.
So it's interesting because in rowing, every person in the boat is doing the exact same thing, right? So like to make a boat go fast, you all have to do the exact same thing. And so we switch spots in the boat. So different people are following each other at different times. And I would be sitting behind someone that I thought was so much better than I was. And I'm following them and doing exactly what they're doing. And I'm physically feeling myself doing exactly what they're doing. And I realize by mimicking them that I can do that too. So like, I guess what's the analogy in the real world? Just doing it, I guess, is how I built confidence through that. Like doing what they're doing and seeing that I can do it too, and kind of bringing myself onto that level. Like we're both doing it and I can do it too. Yeah, so I was like developing this visualizing mindset to help me gain confidence. And kind of a great story in my journey to demonstrate this was at the World Championships in 2015. So this was just a year after that I'd had that major injury, and I really wanted to be in this boat. Like this is what I had been visualizing all year, was that I wanted to make this team. And when I made the boat, I was super honored to be in it, but we always say it's not enough to be in the boat, you have to make it win. So we headed to the World Championships, these three other women and I, wanting to win the World Championships, despite we had a couple injuries in the boat. We were relatively new in this type of boat. Oh yeah, by the way, the US had never won this event ever, not a single time at the World Championships before 2015. But I just remember this boat, we just visualized that we were gonna win. And that was what we said out loud, and that's how we talked to each other. And when we got to France for the World Championships, we had two races before the final. Our heat, we got second in the heat, so we had to go to a second chance heat, and then we got second in the second chance heat. So we were the last boat going into the final. There's 6 boats in the final. We were all the way on the outside because we'd gotten the last spot in. But the night before, in our boat visualization, I told you we all close our eyes and imagine ourselves racing. And the woman that was talking us through, she said that we'd won it when we visualized it. And I remember thinking like, that's crazy, how are we gonna win? But it was just, that's what we said, we were gonna win. And so during the race, I just remember being nervous and my heart's racing, and I'm so excited, but just feeling so confident because we knew it wasn't guaranteed. We knew it would be really hard. We wondered if it would happen. We had doubts, but we had vocalized that visual, and I think that made a huge difference. And we were in the outside lane, crossing the finish line. I was so tired, my oar caught in the water and fell back. That's me in the back of the boat. But slide. Yeah, we were the first ever USA women's quad to win the World Championships. Yeah. And it's just, when I think back to this race, like, the power of visualization in that, because no one else was visualizing that for us. The Germans were supposed to win. They had the world record in the event, but somehow obviously it was a lot of hard work leading up to it, but in the moment, like, the mental toughness came from that visualization, I think. And when you're winning by, less than half a second, and you still have 2 minutes of the race to go, yeah, you're right. It's the mental side that's keeping you going for sure. And okay, so that's my first tool to building confidence is visualize it. But if you're like me, sometimes visualizing things actually makes me feel like more nervous because I'm like imagining myself winning this race. And then I start thinking, oh, why do you think you can win it? You're not good enough. Or I imagine myself getting like my dream job. And then my brain's like, oh, well, you're not smart enough or good enough for that. You know, these thoughts in my brain are, you know, telling me these things. And so it took me a long time to realize, but those negative thoughts aren't real. And sometimes you just have to embrace them and say, I hear you, but I'm going to do it anyway. And my favorite quote is, courage is being afraid, but doing it anyway. Like if you weren't afraid, then it wouldn't be courage, right? If you weren't afraid, then it would mean you didn't care. So I began to realize that those negative thoughts, I could just listen to them and let them go. And so over the next year, so that race I just talked about was 2015 and the Olympics was 2016. So we had a year to get ready for the Olympics, and now things are getting really serious. I'd proved myself by winning the quad. I was, you know, doing really well on the team. Everyone was working really hard and really competitive, and everyone had these doubts and insecurities. And it was kind of like, you know, it's like I said, it's not whether you have it or you don't. It's like, who can show up every day and have the confidence to prove themselves on that day? And for me, I was finding that it really came down to how I could manage those negative thoughts, how I could embrace the negativity and the doubt. And so I learned to embrace it and let it out. I journaled about my fears a lot. I let out my insecurities into a journal, and instead of letting them spiral around in my head, I would write them down and say, okay, I'm done with you. let's keep moving. I would embrace them and reframe them. I would question my negative thoughts. So I would think, you know, why am I in this boat, or why do I think I can make the team? And I would remind myself, well, I'm asking these questions because it means I care. Or remind myself, I have proved myself. I have made it this far. I've put in all the same work that these other people have, and I do deserve this. So just changing the negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And then finally embrace it and keep moving. Something I would always remind myself is, you're never going to be ready, and stop waiting until you're ready, because it's going to happen either way, right? Like the Olympic final is set for August 13th, and it's going to happen whether I'm ready or not. So I might as well just keep moving and realize that I'm never going to be fully ready. I'm never going to be fully confident, and just embrace that. Embrace that I'm never going to be fully confident and fully ready. Just keep moving and keep doing it anyway.
Beautiful.
So you can see in some of these pictures, this one, that's me in the stroke seat of the, so stroke seat, for those that can't see is, wait, do I have I can click on this? So anyway, this is me right here. Can you see my mouse?
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
I ended up in the seat all the way in the back of the boat that no one can see me, and I can't follow anyone, and I'm leading the boat. And yeah, I was nervous to be in that spot, but by this point I felt nervous and confident at the same time, if that's possible.
Oh, yeah, well, apparently it is.
But yeah, I felt I had embraced all those thoughts. So yeah, spoiler, these 8 women and we won the Olympic final in the US women's 8.
Just amazing.
And
Yeah.
I can tell you that they were all very nervous the day of the Olympic final too, but we realized that being nervous is a good thing and we embraced that.
Let's review again. Let's review the embrace, because I think that's really, really an important thing. What are the stages that you pointed out?
I said first I embrace and let it out.
Right.
So I let it out in my journal. I let it out by talking to my teammates. I talk about it. I say, I don't know if I should be on the Olympic team. I'm scared. And then hearing those words and being like, wait, is that true? I do think I should be on the Olympic team. Why am I thinking that?
That's reframing, right? That's the second step.
So my second step is reframing. So listen to the negative thoughts, and then how can I make them positive, or how can I prove that they're not true? And addressing them kind of one by one. And then my last one is embrace and keep moving, because you're not going to be able to reframe every negative thought. You're not going to be able to make them all go away. So just keep moving anyway. Like maybe you are scared to start your business or make it big, or start your social media campaign, or start having work parties or whatever. Maybe you're afraid to do something like that, but you're never going to feel 100% confident. So just do it anyway. Just keep moving and just do it, even if you're not confident.
And then the confidence comes, right?
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Okay, so that was a good tool.
Okay, so my first one was visualize it. My second one is embrace it. And then my last one, which is the most fun, is love it. Because I think this is really the most important. Like when I think back on my whole journey, everyone always asks me, about the medal, like what it was like to stand on the dock with the medal and get the medal. But like, for me, the medal it's cool. But what I remember is laughing with my teammates in the locker room, or having a hard practice and complaining about how our legs hurt, or eating a big meal in the middle of the day after a hard workout. And I think in a way, this is the opposite of visualize it, because you find confidence from looking at those big goals, but you also find confidence from enjoying the little moments and forgetting about the big goal. You can't focus on that big goal all the time. Sometimes you have to just say to yourself, I'm confident because I'm loving what I'm doing. I love this exact moment of my life, and that is what is making me confident. And so, I still try to do that when I get afraid about big goals I'm making in my life. I just say, today, those big goals don't matter. Today, all that matters is that I am having a good time talking to you guys on this webinar. And I'm a little nervous right now. I hope you guys like what I'm saying, but I enjoy telling my story, and I enjoy inspiring you, and loving that is like giving me confidence right now in this moment. So, I had some pictures to go with this.
Oh, wonderful. Look at that.
Some teammates in college. This is on the starting line right before the final, and somehow I managed to smile, even though I was pretty nervous. And then that's at the finish line, just right when we crossed and knew that we'd won, and just loving that moment a lot, and also being very tired. All right, so visualize it, embrace it, love it. Those are my tools for building confidence. And I use them in sport, but I use them in my life now. And when I feel like I'm not ready for something, I walk myself through this and I say, like, can I see myself doing what I want? Am I listening to those negative thoughts and letting them go? And am I making sure that I love what I'm doing right now? So thanks, Shaklee family.
This is beautiful. So Shay, let's stop screen sharing and let's have a little conversation, a little bit more of a conversation before we close up.
Okay.
Wow, Amanda, that was great. That was great. So you have moved from being an Olympic gold medalist to being on the speaking tour. I saw, have you done a TED Talk?
Yeah, I have a TED Talk, which is on a completely different topic. So you guys should check it out.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, terrific. So let's talk a little bit about your experience with Shaklee, because I know we've got some of our friends who are listening in on Facebook who may not be familiar. So how did you come to be on the Shaklee Pure Performance team? Why did you join? And what kind of results did you get actually in your sport, in your physiology?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know much about the Pure Performance team, but I think I forget the numbers, but there's quite a few athletes that Shaklee sponsors and quite a few rowers. And so I already had some teammates that were sponsored by Shaklee and they use the products all the time. And then when I made the 2016 Olympic team, Shaklee reached out to our entire boat, all 9 of us, and offered a sponsorship, which was awesome. And I mean, you guys might think that, you know, we're athletes, we get tons of sponsorships, we're like, people are throwing money at us. That is not true at all. Rowing is a very low budget sport. I didn't have a single sponsorship before Shaklee, and so I was honored to be part of the team, so thankful for the products and support. And yeah, so the products I used, kind of right away, I started using the protein powder. I use the 100% grass-fed whey protein. And protein is super important in endurance sports. People think protein is more for like bodybuilders, but actually I wasn't really trying to build muscle. I just wanted to repair the muscle that was breaking down after my workouts. So I would have a protein shake maybe every day, every other day after a hard workout. I would use the Energy Chews, the whole performance line I was using while training. And let's see, I use the sunscreen because we're out in the sun all the time.
Right.
That's really important. Yeah, I mean, now I've been using Shaklee products for like over 3 years now, and I use basically everything. My house is full of the cleaning supplies. I love the youth line.
That's great. So what did it do for you? What did it do for your performance? Because I think this is probably the 10th or 11th Olympian that I have interviewed. Carolyn Lind was a great one. I interviewed Mary Whipple. So a lot of the greats. And they all said that they saw a fairly significant either increase in their level of health or increase in their capacity to train. What kinds of specific results did you experience?
Yeah, so, well, I didn't start using Shaklee consistently until after the Olympics because that's the timing. But after the Olympics, I actually had that same injury come back, and I was battling with that injury for about a year or two. So I kept training after the Olympics. And so then I was using the protein powder like very consistently. And I did notice playing around with the supplements and stuff that my injury, I mean, it's not like you take the supplements and just like get magically better. It's like when you're consistent with that and consistent with your rehab and your training, kind of it pulls the consistency together for me. And when I could be consistent with the supplements and the protein powder and my rehab, that's when I felt the best. So yeah, using the supplements, but then also just being consistent was really important in my injury recovery.
That's great. So I'm going to tell everyone who is still listening, if you have any questions or comments, just type them into the chat, and we will take them if anyone cares to comment. So, man, is there anything else you want to tell our Shaklee family and the people in Facebook land who are just listening in and saying, "What the heck is this thing?"
Yeah, I'm just really happy to be part of the family, and not just spread the word about the awesome products, but spread the word about how important it is to stay healthy and consistent, and how your mental health goes along with your physical health. So staying confident and using Shaklee to help you achieve your goals. I think that's really important.
That's great. Well, okay, so I think we're at the end. I'm going to say goodbye to our Facebook friends. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll stop the live stream. And okay, Amanda, that was great.